All right. Well, welcome everybody to our first episode of Off Court Connection. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. We've got Keely Jackson, Jourdan Johnson, and Devis Dismang on the show. But before we jump into it, I want to take a moment to thank the first responders and the emergency healthcare workers, everyone working to keep our world moving along during this pandemic. I know it's been really crazy and it's thrown off a lot of things. So these people that are putting their lives on the line day in and day out, I'm really grateful for their sacrifice, and I just know you guys feel the same. So yeah, let's go around the room. How are you guys doing? How's your quarantine been?
Keely, you want to kick it off? Ladies first, be gentlemen.
Yes, I will start. My quarantine's been cool, super chill. Low key, I've been doing a lot of art and painting. So I've just been using this time to perfect my craft and yeah, just make a lot of cool stuff, I guess. So, what about you guys?
I mean, for me, it's been interesting to be home. I'm usually on flights consistently, so to be home longer than a week and a half, it's been kind of great. Ironically, obviously we're going through something that's unprecedented and crazy, but it's been nice to spend time with my family. I have a 6-year-old going on a 7-year-old niece that I really haven't spent much time with because I lived in California for so long. So now we've been spending a lot of time together and hanging out, but also getting a chance, as Keely was talking about, honing the craft and using this time to really build ourselves up, not just as professionals, but as people. So obviously it's been hard because obviously we want to go to the gym and places like that, but it's been a nice slowdown period as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things for me have been pretty good. I've been having a lot more time to do things that I want. Normally, when I would get home from work, my daughter would be asleep, she would be asleep when I left, so I wouldn't get to see her like at all throughout the day unless she was sleeping. And I also just been spending a lot of time doing things I've always wanted to do, like streaming and working out a little bit more because I actually have the time to do it now, which is kind of like a blessing in disguise with all this crazy stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot you have a daughter.
Yeah, almost.
She's so cute.
Almost 2.
That's amazing, man.
That's awesome. And what was life like pre-quarantine for you guys? What did you have going on, and then how did that kind of shift into now when the initial news of kind of a lockdown quarantine period would happen? How was that all? Keely, we can start with you again because you were in school, right?
Yeah. So I go to LSU. I have one more year left, but so it was the week before my spring break when we found out that we were going to go to online schooling. So packed everything up, came back home to Georgia, and yeah, I had to finish doing school online, which was kind of hard just because I'm an art major. So it's not super straightforward, everything on the computer, I guess. You have to send like a lot of pictures of your work. You can't really get the same hands-on with your teacher that I would get in the classroom, but it was okay. I powered through. So yeah.
And have you finished the semester? Are you guys all wrapped up?
Yes, I am done with the semester, finished the first week of May. So
oh, awesome. Yeah, Jourdan, what were you up to before it kind of hit?
I was working just working a lot at the Boys and Girls Club. So, marriage and family therapy, working with a lot of kids with behavioral issues, dealing with trauma. And that's mostly what I was doing. It'd be, it's supposed to be 8 hours a day, but it ends up being closer to 10, 12, 14 because you have all the paperwork and, you're also thinking about, the kids and how you can best help them afterwards. Even after you're off. So it's almost like it takes, over your mind, like, almost 24 hours a day. Like I was having dreams about, certain kids and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh man. Now you're home with your own kid, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah, Devin, what about you?
This whole thing was crazy how it started. For me, I don't know if a lot of people know, I'm freelance now. I'm a freelance content creator. Working specifically with athletes and brands to help build up their stories, whether it's through social, whether it's through their own sponsorship deals, whatever it may be. It's mainly putting their voices first. So I have a lot of clients in LA. A couple of my biggest clients are JaVale McGee and Quinn Cook with the Lakers, and I've been doing some other stuff with some of the other guys on the team. But it's crazy because I was at the March 13th game or March 12th game when they were playing Brooklyn, and kind of the whole thing went down. So I was just taking photos. It was when, we're talking Kevin Durant in the back, things like that. And then the next day I'm out to dinner and I literally see it on the ESPN ticker. It was like NBA season is suspended. I think it was during the Utah game, actually. They were playing Dallas. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And immediately my phone gets like 35 messages like, dude, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just watching it on TV, like just like everybody else. And I had to take an emergency flight back here. I'm in Chicago now, out of the Bay Area. So my wife works for the Chicago Cubs, has a nice little gig there. And she's actually on the like coronavirus pandemic committee to help get the Chicago Cubs back in order and kind of like understand what's going on in that organization in the MLB. So kind of getting information from her, it was just best to come home. And that's when airlines started to shut down. And it's just been a completely different situation from, just going to a game and having a routine I've been doing literally since, I was 20 to now everything's kind of condensed into this, 10 by 12 room to where I'm on shows and editing things from here. And hopefully it still has the same impact than going to a game. So it's been a crazy time to adjust because I've had to learn so many things. But it's also been a blessing. Because as we kind of stated earlier, you get to do things that we've wanted to do for years. The times allowed us to slow down and really be around people we haven't seen. My wife made a comment the other day. I was home, I think it was like 6 weeks. She's like, I think this is the longest you've been home in like 7 years. And I was like,
no doubt.
And I was like thinking about it. I'm like, okay, team travel, obviously the long time during summer league. Yeah. Oh my God, 7 years. This is the longest time. And it's been kind of cool to allow me to now, as Jourdan kind of say, do things I've always wanted to do and try hobbies. So things like streaming, I've been kind of dabbling with that as well as also helping my clients get into it and securing deals. And it's been a new challenge, but it's been kind of fresh too. So, we kind of took this one on the chin, but at the same time, we're trying to make the best out of it too.
Yeah. And I mean, even like right here, we're on a webcast together, we're connecting. I mean, coronavirus, like you said, it really kind of made us miss out on that human connection. And I think it's so important to stay connected. So yeah, so crazy. Yeah. What was the energy like? You said you were there the day before they that Utah game. That was crazy too. My phone was blowing up and it was just tweet after tweet. I was just like, Woj, where are you? Like what was the energy like when you were around? Because you were in the scene when that happened.
All right. Yeah. So again, it's a normal game, right? It was Brooklyn versus LA. And I think Brooklyn had just beat them. So it was kind of this upset victory. I remember taking photos of Spencer Dinwiddie walking back to the tunnel and I ran into Kevin Durant and obviously him and I know each other from Golden State days. So we chatted up a bit. And literally the next day I'm with JaVale McGee doing a shoot for him and his sister because his sister, Imani, was about to announce that she was going to law school, that she was going to leave the WNBA for a bit and pursue a law degree. And then we see it on the ticker at dinner, and we're like, what is that? And then his phone starts ringing, my phone starts ringing, and a lot of it's just people I know in the industry asking like, hey, what's going on with this? And it was a complete shutdown. Like they're like, hey, don't come here and do this. And at that same point, people were panicking, right? I have a friend who works in the government in DC, and they're like, hey, they don't have answers. So you should probably go home and like be with your family. I'm like, this is kind of scary. So, and from 48 hours of like, general day of work, like, hey, go in, see a game, shoot a game, put out content. I'm now on an emergency flight home at like 6 a.m. out of LAX to make sure I'm home before they do this, shut down of the travel in the airports. Like it was scary because at some point you're like, what if you get stuck? What if they ground the plane? You had no idea. We're battling something you can't see and no one has answers for. So the energy all over the place is just that. It was all over the place. No one had answers. People were like, it's just, like everybody's saying, it's just a flu. Like, don't worry about it. Wash your hands, all these things that are obviously what you need to be doing. But at the same time, you're like, hey, this is no joke. So there was a lot of skepticism, especially on a lot of us who kind of depend on those events to generate income or generate content. But at the same time now, kind of shifted once we started to see the seriousness of it. It was all just crazy because it's something as simple as, if I saw you guys, I want to give you a hug or a handshake or whatever, we don't know if we could do that. So it's something that is so ingrained in us since we've been kids that it's hard to kind of get over. So that was kind of the energy that came from everybody.
Yeah, it's just crazy. You want to do the things to be respectful in what you do, shake someone's hand when you see them, and you can't do that. And going back to that Utah game, I remember I was watching those and I was waiting for the game to start, looking at my Twitter feed. And on my other Twitter feed, I had Donald Trump addressing about those travel restrictions. And it was for Europe, but everyone was like, okay, is this going to be all travel, all airlines? And so, yeah, you went home. Where are you guys quarantined at?
I am home, Tequila, Georgia, my family home. So that's where I'm at and where I've been the last almost 2 months-ish. So, yeah.
What's it been like where you guys are at? Like, how's the weather? Is your quarantine lifted a little bit? Here in Utah, we're at a yellow, so things are starting to open a little bit, but it's still a little weird. How is it where you guys are at?
For me, our quarantine has, I guess, been lifted. We were put under like stay in place, shelter in place. So where you have to like stay inside unless like you're an essential worker or you're picking up food or stuff like that, going to the grocery store. But now, it's actually a little bit scary. It looks like you would think things are back to normal. People are like eating at restaurants, like going out. The governor here said that like bars and clubs and stuff are opening up at the end of the month. So like things literally look normal here, but I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy what's going on.
Yeah, Jordan, where are you at? And who are you quarantined with?
So I'm in Vallejo, California right now. People don't know that's like kind of right outside of San Francisco. It's just a nice little boat ride away. But I'm quarantined with my partner, my daughter, and my dog right now. And then just my mind.
You mentioned you were working out. Are you going on lots of walks with your dog? I know I have.
Yeah, well, luckily, our backyard, we have like a huge park, and we have like a little fence that opens up, so we walk around like the little lake, and we just take the baby, take the dog, and try to social distance as much as possible because I'm still going to work, so I want to make sure that I'm not like really bringing anything back from work, so I have to be really careful when I'm outside because I'm still going to the Boys and Girls Club 4 days out of the week, down from 5.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. That's crazy, man. For me, I mean, I think I said it before, I'm in Chicago with my wife and our dog. He hates it. He hates quarantine more than anything in the world. He's a 2-year-old, but he still has a puppy body. So like he just wants to run and go outside and do things. And I'm like, hey man, we'll go for a walk, but then we'll see like people walking. So you obviously got to keep the 6 foot, social distancing thing. And it's been interesting, but it's been cool. We have a park / like elementary school not too far away from us, and it has a turf field, and no one uses it because obviously school's not having kids in there. So we just take him there, let him go run around for about a half hour, and then he's asleep for 23 hours a day, and we were back at it the next day. But just here with my family. But luckily, like when I moved from the Bay, my family's still here, so my immediate family, my sister, my mom, my dad, obviously my niece, and then my wife's family, her sister, mom and dad are all here. So she took the dog to her families this weekend. They live in a suburb of the city, so they have a nice yard with, a state. So he just goes and runs around, and we literally call it the estate, and he'll like wag his tail anytime he hears that word now. So that's been great because it's just a nice getaway from our own apartment here in the city.
Totally. I kind of want to talk about a time we were spending quarantine together essentially at Summer League. So we're all with our families now. This is when we were all together 24/7. Instead of all these hours at home, we were putting in hours at Thomas and Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a favorite memory that kind of stands out to you?
Oh, for me, I mean, first and foremost, for me, the people, without question. I mean, the people make Summer League from top to bottom, whether it's the folks that come and attend it to the NBA personnel to us, to the crew that ran anything, from yelling out programs to running the games to throwing teachers to whoever it was. We were all a cast of characters. I don't think you could have scripted a cast of characters as crazy as we were every single year. And it's crazy is a good thing, right? Like we all had personalities and different ways that we approach things, but it was a great thing. And my other one would be just me being kind of the vet, one of the veterans of the group, for as long as I was there, was the opportunity to teach the next generation of sports professionals or people who are looking for advice and wanted to try different things and try to help them point in the next direction. But I think the top one overall is going to be how much Pitbull and Flow Rider I played in Thomas and Mack on a regular basis for our guys. And, there's two other artists who I don't think have been sponsored by Summer League who probably should be sponsored by Summer League.
Yep, definitely. Jourdan, how about you?
Yeah, I don't remember which year it was. It was during one of the veteran appreciation nights, the military appreciation nights. And I remember I was sitting at like the media table, and they're playing that one song, "And I'm Proud to Be an American." Mm-hmm. And they're putting everyone on screen. They're putting all the veterans and military people on screen, and everyone is waving flags. So I'm like, I can see everyone down the court because I'm up pretty high, including our table. Everyone had like American flags that we were passing out, and you could just see every person who was working just waving a flag across the whole arena, and it was just really fun to watch. Everyone was like in sync, and it was kind of amazing. Like it was a really kind of feel good moment. Just watching how they move the camera around, all of the people who were sitting on the sidelines just waving that flag.
So cool. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of those experiences. It's so unique because you get all these talented people down there from all corners of the industry just working together on one team. And it's just so fun. Like Devin said, like just everyone's tied to each other and everyone's love for each other. It's really something different and unique. And yeah, that memory is awesome. Keely, how about you?
I don't know if I have like one specific favorite memory, but every year I look forward to meeting new people, and like just the first couple days, like those are like the longest days, and that's when you're like around each other the most. But like just like talking to like the newer people, even like vets and stuff like that, just listening to everybody's stories. It's super cool because everybody's like from different parts of like the world. So I don't know. I always like look forward to meeting new people, talking to them, their story, what they do, what it's like where they live. But I guess if I had to pick like a favorite memory, this was probably I think this was 2 years ago. So my first year doing Summer League. It was one of the last few days in Thomas and Mack, and there was like it was the dance cam was on. They were playing the Dougie. I wasn't a part of it. I can't Dougie, but I was right there watching, and like all the game ops crew like killed it. It was so cool. They were just so cool. And that's what I remember sitting there thinking like, man, love these guys. So
yeah. And you really, I mean, there's vets from all points of the industry and within Summer League and those who come visit. Did you guys get an opportunity to really hone in on your craft and learn from anybody specific when you were down there?
Oh, that's a good question.
I could start that one off. So I'm in the psychology field, so MBA wise, it's a very like emerging field that's coming out. So there's not like that many people in the industry currently. But I actually got to make some like great connections at Summer League, just kind of talking about the ideas and, really spitballing ideas on what teams are looking for. And I feel like that was the most helpful part for my development, is that, when I do, get the opportunity to showcase my skills, I know what the teams are looking for. I know what issues are, currently happening with players, what issues are happening with coaches, GMs, because each subset has their own group of stressors. Like there's the amount of stress that like, you know, everyone in the industry is under is outstanding. And for a long time, there hasn't been any type of way to kind of talk about what's going on, you know, up there. Like, you know, you see players who have great seasons and then all of a sudden they have, you know, an outstanding drop off. And, you know, you have a lot of people wondering why. The pressure is tremendous. Like, I don't know how many people who could do their job in front of millions of people who will scrutinize you day after day. Every small little thing you do, they're like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're terrible. And then those are like the nice ones. Like, you know, they get death threats. They get all these kind of crazy stuff. Like that messes up, you know, someone's mental. It's same with NBA, same with like Hollywood. Like a person can only take so much. And if you're not talking about what's going on, then, you know, that's a recipe for disaster. And just talking to the teams and, you know, understanding their stress gave me a better perspective on how I'll be able to help in the future.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. And I think as it continues to grow with all these platforms and streaming services and social media that we have, it's only
You're muted.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep, there we go.
Oh, yeah. About that. Okay, how about you, Devin? I mean, you kind of worked all aspects. Warriors came down at that point.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
You guys hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on what all did you do down there? How did you kind of hone in on your craft?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, I kind of was doing the same thing I had been doing for years. I was running the table, the game presentation for Thomas and Mac, and obviously helping out with Cox, but kind of helping run that entire game production side with Justin Roper and Jim. So from a day-to-day standpoint, I mean, us three kind of huddled up. I was creating scripts, working with, you know, Jourdan Graphics day-to-day, making sure we were working with the UNLV staff to get the graphics up, to you know, make sure audio works well, testing out half times, all those things. But I think for me, the biggest thing, you know, I kind of learned was obviously I had to work with a lot of personalities, right? I had a new crew almost every single day. You know, we would rotate everyone daily except, you know, I think maybe our DJs and like one or two people. But next to that, it was, you know, hey, we got a new promo team. We got a new personal headset. And I'm trying to teach people on the fly, hey, this and that. So ironically, the one thing I had to develop was patience, was like the very first thing. Because I was like, all right, I taught Jourdan all these things these last 3 days. And now I got a whole new crew that has to be here today because you got, you know, something else today. But it was a great way to learn how to adjust on the fly. And it's something I've been doing, but I really hadn't done it in such an extreme standpoint. So that's really where I was like, I wanted to hone in. And how do I use that patience to also help develop that talent? And if this is something they want to do, how do I help them get to the point of things they enjoy doing? Because that was the other challenge. Some people like music, but some people were intimidated by the DJ computer, right? There's other people who are intimidated by headset, and some people are intimidated by throwing out, you know, T-shirts to fans. So we had to figure out what their strengths were and kind of rely on them forward on a day-to-day basis. But that's, I would say that would be how we honed in on the crafts.
Yeah, adjusting to, and now we're adjusting to quarantine. So how are you guys? You guys all share a creative element. How are you staying creative now in quarantine?
I literally just paint. I paint all day long. I feel I don't get tired of it. Most people would think that I would. I just, like, literally from sun up to sundown, I don't know. I just paint. That's the only thing that I am like super patient in. So I don't know. I can just literally sit and paint all day. I've been trying to try new techniques using different paints, oils, acrylics. Soon I'm going to start using watercolor. So yeah, just doing my art.
Yeah, you were so talented and so accomplished.
Thank you.
I was scrolling through all your stuff and it's amazing. And I caught one of your stories that said one of your pieces, you weren't even done and you were 13 hours in. How long does a single piece take to complete?
It just depends, I guess, on like what I'm doing or what I'm painting, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so my Nipsey Hussle picture, I was able to knock that out in like a day, like all day long painting, like sun up to sundown, but like I finished that in one day. So I guess it just depends. But the Kobe one, so I was working on that for like a week or so, maybe a week and a half. So it just kind of depends. It depends on like how focused I am. Sometimes I'll start a painting and then I'll lose interest and then I'll kind of like put it to the side and then come back and pick it up later. But yeah, so it just kind of depends on like my focus and stuff like that.
Do you know exactly how many you've completed in quarantine so far?
Well, okay, so when quarantine first started, I was in school and I was like daily, like a new painting every single day, like for my schoolwork. But now that I'm out and like I have time to just like work on what I want to work on, it's been like a little bit more slow. But probably maybe like 13 pieces over the last like 2 months. So yeah.
And when you like get to choose what to work on, where do you draw your inspiration from, especially now in quarantine?
Okay, lately, like this past week, I've been like working heavy on like commissions, which I'm almost done with those, but I don't know, they just like random ideas just come to me. Like now I'm sitting here so excited for like when I can go back to just painting what I want to paint because I just have so many ideas that I don't know, that I want to paint. That Nipsey Hussle picture, I don't like it's sold, but I do want to like do another Nipsey Hussle piece just because like a lot of people ask me about that and stuff like that. So I don't know, I guess like what people like to see also kind of feeds into like what I create next. But yeah.
That's amazing. And it must just be so therapeutic to just do art and draw.
It is. That's what I try to tell people. Like, even if you're not good at it, I feel like if you just need to like relieve some stress, just go at it. It's super fun. I don't know.
What would you suggest, like mediums to use? What do you like to use? And what would you suggest to people who are really rough beginners like me in quarantine?
So like right now I'm on oil paints just because that's what I use in school. But when I first started, I used acrylics and acrylics like dry faster, almost like instantly, and oils take like days to dry. So I can go back to like a canvas 2 days later and it's still wet and I can still move my paint around and stuff like that, which is why I like oil paints. But starting out, I would definitely say acrylics just because that gives you a good feel of the paint, working with it, blending it out, stuff like that, how it applies onto the canvas. Yeah, but watercolors are cool too. I'm not super good at those, but that's my next thing to tackle. So stay tuned.
I'm definitely excited to see those. Jourdan, what have you been up to? I've seen you streaming now on Twitch.
Yeah, I've been streaming on Twitch about 5 days a week. I don't know if y'all know this. I also race cars. So I was before the quarantine. I was making a switch into a different form of racing called rally racing. Had the car ready. Was going to be racing in South America and a couple other places, and the season more or less got canceled. So my debut rookie season in rally racing kind of got postponed a year. So I decided to do something I've always wanted to do and, start playing some games. I have a lot of racing simulators that I'm going to be streaming just to keep my skills tight because it's actually pretty amazing how far racing simulators have come and how they can, replicate real life. So that's kind of what I've been up to is just streaming and, doing stuff that I always wanted to do. I was actually at the Boys and Girls Club. Yep, that's me. I was at the Boys and Girls Club, and it was funny because it was really out of character for me. And I was talking to some of the middle and high schoolers, and we were talking about games and how they want to be streamers. And I was talking about I was like back in my day, giving them that old man vibe. I was like, gaming like this was an option. They didn't have scholarships for gaming. If you wanted to be in the gaming field, you would have to be, a programmer or a tester. And that I tried it out and that was not for me. So I was like, I'm too old to do it. And they're like, no, you're not. And I was like, you're right. I'm not too old. And I literally bought a camera that day and started streaming as soon as it came in. And I've been actually getting quite a bit of support. So it's actually been pretty exciting. And I wish I would have started sooner rather than being held back by like, age and, reality.
Yeah, that's awesome. Your setup looks so cool and your chair looks so cool. You could probably sit in that all day. How long does a stream normally last?
Depends how I'm feeling. This chair leans all the way back, like, just completely horizontal, so I could stay here for a while. But I would say on average, I do a 4 to 6 hour stream. Some other people are doing like 10 hours, and I'm like, not quite there yet. But the 4 to 6 hours seems like to be a good medium for me between like getting stuff done outside of streaming and gaming.
And like for beginners like me who don't know much about streaming, walk me through what a normal stream is like. Like, what do you do on it? How's the commentary? Like, walk us through that.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess in the beginning, like, streaming on Xbox is easy because you literally can just plug a camera in there. But I use my computer, so it has a lot more extra stuff. But I would recommend like being on like a console because you can just plug it in. But you pretty much create a title, bring people in, tell them what you're playing. And as people come in, they're going to start chatting with you. They're going to start talking to you about, either what you're playing, or a lot of times they just want to know what's going on personally in your life. I had people ask me like, like, what's my favorite food, and it's people that I didn't know, and I answer it. I also have like, if you watch a certain amount of time, I have these things everyone has these things called channel points, where you can spend like, the time that you watched and spend the points to pretty much do things that I have on stream. So if you get on my stream, if you get 50,000 points, which you get about 220 points per hour for watching. I set it to 50,000. It's pretty wild. I will shave my beard on stream. That's why I said I'd much rather keep my beard, but if someone spends the time to watch me for that amount of time and they want me to shave my beard, it's the least that I can do. Also, during 2 weeks. So
streamers do some of the craziest stuff, man.
Yeah.
I love it. You get to have that connection with people. Like, seriously, it's just been so cool during this quarantine to see what people are doing to stay connected and how they can connect to people. That's just awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
And what about you? I know you started, I saw a tweet you started streaming yesterday.
Yes, I did. Mainly out of necessity to learn how to do it for my clients. As something I've always been interested in doing, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, how do I channel this new avenue that everybody's been doing for a while? Because I mean, people have been in the house like we talked about for a couple months now. So guys have been asking me like, hey, I want to do streaming channels. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to stream? And a lot of them are like Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty's been like this whole thing now to where they have Warzone and Fortnite. What these two games have been the craziest thing to do. So I had to figure out how to do it. And I want to say literally, 3-4 days ago, I just started testing out on myself, and we actually got. But I've been managing other players' channels. Like Clint Cook just started his Twitch channel 2 nights ago and did his first stream playing 2K, and it was hilarious because he has his buddy there and in the background just joking around, and kids and people even play. I think Seth Curry got into his chat and started messing with him. So for guys who've never done these things, there's I have to learn it so then I can reciprocate it to them in a way that they can quickly understand it, because I can't go to their house and build their setups. So I'm telling them like, hey, get all these things, and I'm going to walk you through it as easy as possible. So I obviously had to do it for myself, but it was interesting because something I've never explored. But there's a lot of opportunity in streaming, just because of everyone every single day wants to watch something. Like we all are sitting in our homes, our offices, and we want to have some sort of other entertainment to kind of cancel out the fact that we can't talk to people in person like we used to. So we want to have that one-to-one connection in some way, and technology is allowing to bridge that gap. And platforms like, YouTube Live, Twitch, Facebook Live, all these things are allowing us to do that. Look at DJ D Nice, who just did something similar with his music platform and DJing, Club Quarantine. Like that was such a huge hit. And it continues to be a huge hit. I mean, you get an IG Live lobby and Michelle Obama comes in there, you've made it. I don't care what you've done. Like you've made it.
Oh, most definitely.
You guys have any recommendations for new people who want to start streaming on Twitch? Did you run into any roadblocks you could help them with, or just advice about getting started, gear, equipment? I see your mic there, Jourdan. It's so awesome. Like, any tips?
At the beginning, just make sure to get the word out there on your social media. That's the main thing, because it can be very discouraging if you have 0 people viewing each time and you feel like you're not talking to anyone. So get your friends and family to get in there, spread the word. But another thing is like, oh wow, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that, but having people in there. Oh, now I remember. Practice talking when no one's there, if no one's there. Because the first couple of times you'll be kind of nervous. You won't like really know what to say. And sometimes I look at I go to other small streamers' page to see what they're doing, and they're sitting there. They're sitting there silent. I get in their page and they don't acknowledge me at all. They're not used to talking at all. So I'm always checking my chat to make sure who is in the chat and who is there, and trying to greet everyone and really be personable, because that's the main thing about Twitch. It's all about that. It's all about that connection. Gameplay is great. People want to see you play well, but they really want to connect with the individual that they like.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and Devin, I know you're producing with Hall Pass and doing a lot of their websites.
Yes.
How's that been, and adapting to that platform?
It has been probably one of the highlights of the quarantine for me. Mainly because I've been trying to figure out how to do a live production through a web show from my house, and I didn't really know how to do it. And luckily we came together, and the guys kind of brought me in on some projects they've been doing. So I've been producing 2 shows for Hall Pass. The first one being the SBC web show with Bo Estes as the host. Fantastic commentary. A lot of NBA guests, writers, media folks come in and talk just about what's going on in the world in regards to the NBA and what's going to come next, and all the topics have been so interesting. So that airs every Thursday. And then we also have Basketball Jones featuring ESPN's Mark Jones, who does a great show in regards of his guests. We had Mike D'Antoni. We just had Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz, and this coming up on Tuesday, we're going to have Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. So it's our first player show. So please, if you got time on Tuesday, check it out. We're definitely going to talk to him about everything he's been going through in regards to quarantine and prep for the season. So then on Monday, I don't produce a show, but it's still a great show. Pickup game with Seth Greenberg. Again, that is a powerhouse of shows. A lot of coaches come on there and just talk every Monday about, again, what's going on with the league, how they're keeping their players engaged, how they're keeping their spirits high during this time, and as well prepping for a season whenever we get word if it's back or not. So all these shows have been great. Again, I'm blessed to Hall Pass for giving me the opportunity to do those things each week, and I can't wait for the next show and for things to keep getting better and better every time.
Yeah, those have been outstanding. It's so cool to see person to person, first person. You've got these coaches, you've got these players, you've got these insiders who know what's going on, and it's really cool to see how they've adapted. And I know Coach Lucy was talking about how he's had more contact with his players than ever. Yeah. And it's just cool to see what their day-to-day is, and that they're still operating day in, day out, and it's really awesome.
I think one of my favorite parts about the show is a lot of them are learning how to use technology as we do this too, right? Like they have to adapt with the times, and it's funny, but it's also cool because a lot of these coaches or people who haven't used the technology are learning, and they're kind of coming into the technology. So when they go back, when they're staff, and they're going to hit the ground running, like everyone's going to be caught up. So the one fun thing about this show is everyone's kind of learning a little thing. but it's something that's going to be big for them in the long run, I think. But the conversations have been, like you said, fantastic. The one-to-one conversation is great. I mean, Mark Jones does a great job in regards to talking to coaches about lifestyle. Him and D'Antoni talked about Italian food and, his trips overseas to Italy and things like that. And Quinn Snyder was talking about his playing career overseas and then going to Russia. And these are things I didn't even know about before we got to the show. And we were learning these on site. So I can't wait to see, what Damian talks about on Tuesday and what we got going on with Bo on Thursday. So they're just going to keep getting better each time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to tune in. And so talking about adapting, I want to know how quarantine is giving you guys a new perspective that you're going to take forward with you. I mean, you've all had to adapt and kind of change what you were doing. What are you going to take forward with you from this moment?
I would
Definitely.
say,
go ahead.
No,
I was going to
no.
say definitely when it's safe and things are opened and this is all cleared up, definitely going to utilize my time out in the world, in the public, socializing with people, meeting new people, all that kind of stuff. Going to the mall more, movies, hanging out, all that kind of stuff. Just because definitely took advantage of that before and sucks.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree with all that. I think for me, the biggest thing I'm going to take away from it is, when I get those texts like, hey, buddy, you want to come out? And I say no, I'm probably going to say yes more.
For sure.
Like my Netflix can wait. I watched enough. Like it's cool. It'll still be there when I come back. But also making sure I'm taking advantage of my talent out there as well. Like the people I was too nervous to talk to or want to get their, pick their brains about things in person, I really don't have the chance because I don't have that one-to-one connection right now. And so if I'm ever in that opportunity again, I think now more than ever, people are going to take advantage of that. And something I've, I'm like, okay, that's something I need to make sure I do. But another perspective too is I know I'm kind of the old head of the group, but it's always been told me like the physical presence means like you're working, right? Like your in person is what showcases that you're working. And more than ever now, it's showing that like you can work from anywhere and still have the same amount of productivity. And sure, it might be easier in person or there may be easier ways to do it, but the work can still get done. You just got to find a way and be creative, and it's kind of challenging you from all angles. And then also for me, showcase the priority of a lot of things. Again, I was away from my family for so long that now I'm spending time with them. I didn't realize how much I'd missed out, in pursuit of my career and things like that. So for me, kind of a different stage of my life, understanding like, hey, what's important to you going forward, and once things knock on wood get back to normal or get some sort of normalcy to where we can go out without having to worry about this, I'm still going to make sure they're as much of a priority as they are now. Even though I know for a fact, knowing me, I'm going to, hit the ground running and try to do as much as I can before I have to go back in the house every day. So, yeah.
Jourdan, you?
I agree with that too. For me, it's taking the time to do the things that, really make me feel good. Especially when I started the Boys and Girls Club, that almost, took over my life. I stopped boxing. I, stopped doing a lot of things that, make me actually feel good. And, I feel like it's bad for me because, I'm a therapist. I always preach self-care, but I was getting so consumed in, making sure everyone else was taken care of that, I let things go that, I shouldn't have. So going to go boxing this week because they're opening back up in, small numbers. And that's pretty much it. Just use my time for the things that are important, for the people that are important too.
I would do anything to go back to a gym right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you're going to go boxing. When the quarantine's lifted, where's the first place you guys are going? Mine's Dutch Bros, coffee.
Oh.
Movies. I'm in some movie theater. Where are you guys headed?
Wow. Where the
I'm probably going to my favorite Mexican restaurant. Love me some Mexican food. Miss eating out. So just being honest. So
I'm supposed to be in Germany right now. So I got canceled. So I would like to go on some type of trip, maybe not Germany because it won't fit my timeline, but maybe down to like LA or San Diego on like, on like a quick little, not a day trip, but maybe like a little weekend thing. So I want to go somewhere outside of this outside of the Bay Area.
Yeah, I know. I feel that one for sure. I think for me, I think the one thing I would do is I'm gonna be on the plane immediately. Like the first thing I do, it's gonna be on a plane in LA probably to get some work done. I probably had 6 vacations planned before all this, so I don't know where I would go. Whether it's here in Chicago, probably a restaurant with my family and sit down with them and have a meal that we didn't cook. Because as much as I love cooking now, I feel like I'm a chef. My wife's definitely a chef. We got a whole bake show now because of how many things she's learned how to bake. But at some point, I think I'd like somebody else to cook for me and cook for us, so we don't have to worry about the dishes. So I don't think I've ever washed so many dishes in my life. After that, I think that'll be the first thing for sure.
Well, I really appreciate you guys hopping on here and telling your stories and giving us some connection again. And I want to thank Albert Hall and Hall Pass Media for giving us this platform and this opportunity to stay connected. And do you guys want to shout out your socials? You're all doing amazing things. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you on Twitch and your streams? Where can we see you guys?
Yeah.
Well, I post my art on my Instagram, Keely_Jackson. So if you guys want to follow or see what I'm doing.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/thedarkestpillow. I also have it on Instagram as well. So it's The Darkest Pillow as well.
That's a fantastic name. I didn't even know about that. That's a great thing. A lot of my socials, they're all the same thing, man. Instagram, Dismang, DISMAYNE. Just a nice little play on my last name. My Twitch is actually different. It's the Light Skinned Panther, all one word. Hilarious. My buddy called me that after Black Panther came out. So after that, but YouTube, all those things all under my name. So check it out. We're doing a lot of great work. I'm showcasing all the things that we've been doing all this time. So if you guys want to give them a look, come find me there.
Yeah, and they'll also be able to follow your work on Basketball Jones with Mark Jones coming up on Tuesday. I know you'll be producing. So catch Basketball Jones with Mark Jones. I know we've got Pickup Game with Seth Greenberg, Business Classroom. Just really awesome shows with outstanding guests. This Tuesday, Mark has Damian Lillard. Just awesome stuff. Really excited to tune into that. They can check it out at hallpassnetwork.com/webshows. And then you can follow me on Twitter. But I really appreciate you guys coming on today. Hope you guys stay healthy and that I get to see you soon and we get to be in person with each other and just be back to normal. But stay healthy, stay safe, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Love you all. Miss you.